He was the heir to one of Europe's most powerful empires. Brilliant, educated, progressive, and completely out of place. Crown Prince Rudolf of Austria-Hungary was meant to inherit the throne. Instead, he became one of history's greatest royal tragedies. Welcome to my channel Stories of Austria, where I talk about Austrian history and the history of the Habsburg dynasty. My name is Katharina and I'm a tour guide in Vienna. If you'd like to book a tour with me, you can find more information here in the description. But today we're going to talk about the fate of Crown Prince Rudolf, the son of Emperor Franz Joseph and Empress Elisabeth, known as Sisi. He was a man torn between duty and desire, between science and tradition, between the future and a world that refused to change. He wrote in his last will himself, "I've gone different paths than most of my relatives. Our time demands new ideas. Reaction is everywhere, especially in Austria, the first step toward downfall." Who was Rudolf really? A visionary? A rebel? Or simply a man who could not survive the system he was born into it? Part 1. A prince unlike the others. From a young age, Rudolf stood apart from the rigid traditions of the Habsburg court. He was deeply interested in science, especially natural history. While other aristocrats hunted for sport, Rudolf studied birds. At just 13 years old, he wrote, "I can only pity those who have no interest in the natural sciences." This curiosity shaped his worldview. He valued observation, reason, and knowledge, not blind obedience. Later he wrote, "Man must have opportunity to escape from time to time from everything he himself has created, into free nature, into true greatness." This was not the mindset of a traditional monarch, it was the mind of a thinker, even a skeptic. Part 2. The Rebel in the Palace. Rudolf's ideas quickly put him at odds with his father, Emperor Franz Joseph. The emperor ruled through tradition, religion, and strict hierarchy. Rudolf believed in liberal reforms, science, and modernization. He openly criticized the system he was supposed to inherit. Why should the people love us, we who live in luxury, while they struggle for daily bread? He questioned the church's influence. "I respect religion when it educates the people, but I fear when it becomes a weapon, spreading blind belief and superstition instead of true education." These were dangerous ideas, especially for a crown prince. At court, suspicion grew. Rudolf later wrote, "I belong to the least informed people in all of Austria. I see more and more how I am surrounded by a tight circle of surveillance, denunciation, and control." Despite his status, Rudolf felt powerless. "I am condemned to be a non-entity." Part 3. A double life. While Rudolf was intellectually restless, his private life was equally turbulent. He became known for numerous affairs, a contrast to his public role. He once wrote bluntly, "There has never been a woman who resisted me." But behind the confidence was instability. Observers described him as sensitive, changing his mood constantly, charming in one moment, furious in the next, and then delightful again. He lived between extremes, discipline and excess, intellect and impulse. His letters reveal a deeply emotional man. "I was always easily excitable and emotional. Yet through science I talked myself out of faith, love and belief." There was a constant tension in him, between reason and longing. Part 4. A failed marriage. In 1881, Rudolf married Princess Stephanie of Belgium. She was just 16 years old. At first, he seemed hopeful. I have found a true angel, a loyal and good companion for life. But reality quickly set in. Stephanie later described her wedding night. What torment, what horror. I knew nothing. I believed I would die from disappointment. Their relationship deteriorated rapidly. She later wrote, "He values women little. He does not consider them equal." The marriage became cold, distant, and deeply unhappy. After the birth of their daughter, Rudolf was reportedly disappointed it wasn't a son. Meanwhile, his affairs continued. Part 5. A mind at war with his world. Politically, Rudolf's views became increasingly radical. He supported liberal reforms, multinational unity, and modernization of the empire. He admired France. We owe France enormously as the source of all liberal ideas in Europe, and harshly criticized Germany. What is Germany? Nothing but an expanded Prussian military state. He also believed Austria had a cultural mission. Through Austria, Western culture must spread into those regions. We must bring them under our influence. But he had no real power to act on these ideas. Instead, he watched from the sidelines, frustrated and increasingly pessimistic. On his 30th birthday, he wrote, 30 years. Much time has passed, but empty of real deeds and achievements. We live in a sluggish, stagnant time. Each year makes me older, less fresh, less capable. The constant waiting exhausts the strength to act. Part 6. Isolation and decline. Rudolf's isolation grew. He had few trusted friends. He was misunderstood by his family, and politically he was sidelined. Even his father dismissed him. Rudolf is talking nonsense again. At court, he was seen as unstable, even dangerous. Yet others saw something different. One admirer wrote, "He possesses a strong sense of justice, a deep appreciation for science and art. Whoever speaks with him must admire him." Rudolf himself saw the decline around him. "I see the slope we are sliding down. I stand close to events, yet I can do nothing." A man who could see the future, but could not change it. Conclusion. Crown Prince Rudolf was not a typical heir in Austria to the throne. He was too modern for the past, too constrained for the future. A scientist in a court of tradition, a liberal in an empire of conservatism, a sensitive man in a world that demanded strength. But Rudolf also played a role in his own downfall. His numerous affairs humiliated his wife and deeply damaged his marriage. While he spoke of progress, empathy, and reform, his private life often reflected instability, excess, and emotional recklessness. In the end, he was a man caught between ideals and impulses. Perhaps this is why his story still fascinates us today. He was a complex, flawed human being who saw the world changing, but couldn't find a place for himself in it. What do you think? Was Rudolf a visionary ahead of his time, or a man undone by his own choices? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoy deep dives into history like this, consider subscribing for more stories like this one. And next time we get to know Rudolf's tragic end.